Well, the first thing is identification. That's the number one thing, is, knowing if you have it or not. It looks a lot like sudden death syndrome. So it has the same foliar symptoms that are going to start showing up about the same time as the SDS symptoms, which is usually sometime after flowering, usually maybe, R3 or R4. And those symptoms are going to look like, we call it interveinal chlorosis. That's where the leaves, the main veins on the leaves stay green, but in between those veins it turns yellow and then dead tissue. So that's going to be the thing that people will notice. It'll kill plants prematurely too. You might just have patches of dead plants. So identification is important. The other thing that you'd be looking for would be down in that lower stem and root area. It causes a reddish discoloration of the lower stem and roots. And that fungus produces these fruiting bodies. And they're little spherical structures. They're kind of reddish orange in color. And they're going to show up on the lower stem and roots. They're called parathecia. The thing about those parathecia is they're not always there. They may show up. You may go to the field and see them one week and then go back and they wash away. But if you see that along with the other symptoms, that's pretty diagnostic. But if you don't see those, it still could be red crown rot.
Now, what's the commonality about getting it? It suddenly appeared, or is suddenly appearing, but I don't know whether it's been there for a while and we haven't looked for it, or what. What causes it?
Yeah, so we're definitely scratching our heads on why now all of a sudden. We don't really know that answer. It's a fungus that causes this disease. It's called Calinectria illicicula is the name of that fungus. It lives in the soil, so it's a soil-borne fungus. We don't really know why. It just suddenly, 2017 it showed up in Illinois, 2021 Kentucky. It's in Indiana now as of officially in 2022. We don't really know why all of a sudden we're seeing this. That's the part we don't really know, but we know it's out there. It's probably in more places than we realize. It's probably been maybe misdiagnosed or maybe just at a low enough level where people haven't noticed it over the past few years, and it just takes a while for these things to kind of build up to a noticeable level. And then, of course, somebody that realizes, hey, this is something different. This is not sudden death syndrome. It takes the right person to see that and then get it to the people that can identify what it is. Yeah.
Any fungicide that would happen to cure this?
So we're evaluating seed treatments. It's probably unlikely that foliar fungicides would have much impact because this fungus is down in the roots, and all of our foliar fungicides, even if they're systemic, they don't move both ways. They only move up, so things don't move down into the roots. So probably seed treatments or possibly maybe even an in-furrow treatment would be the things that we're evaluating. In our very limited field trials where we've had so far on this, we've looked at a few seed treatments, and we have seen some efficacy with Saltro fungicide seed treatment, and then Syngenta did actually add that to their label in 2022, early 2023. They added that as suppression. So what we've seen, it's not a silver bullet, but it looks like it can maybe delay infection or keep severity a little bit lower, but it's not going to totally prevent something from getting red crown rot.
Tillage, drainage, things like that.
Yeah.
Soil, is that
Yeah. So we're not so sure about tillage. We do know that it does like wet soil. So if you've got areas in the field that don't drain very well, then that's probably where you might see it first. So if there's ways to improve drainage, that might maybe prevent the optimal conditions for infection. So that might help as well. Yeah. Crop rotation, also important. If we were growing continuous soybean, it would probably be a lot worse. We know that from some research that was done at LSU, in the 1990s, we know that it can interact with soybean cyst nematode as well. And so from their work, it showed that if you have soybean cyst nematode, the symptoms of red crown rot were worse than if it was just red crown rot alone. So there is some interaction there. So, managing other problems like soybean cyst nematode might be able to help out a little bit with red crown rot management too.
Sounds like just keep the stress off the soybeans for whatever reason, and you might be able to reduce the potential problems.
Yes, that's right. It probably wouldn't prevent it completely, but it may mitigate the severity. Yeah.